I know you're pumped up about that. January 5th, 2018. It's MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Goes. That's it. No.
I'm Danny.
He's Danny. He's in New York. Gorgeous George. MIA. We don't know yet. But Dan Tom, we know, is going to be back on Monday. He just happens to be sick. He's a sick boy right now.
He doesn't really know how to do vacations.
No, he's bad at vacations.
On vacation, he got sick.
Yeah. Everybody's getting sick.
I know. Right now, we're like the last guy standing.
Yeah. I feel good about it. I feel like I could get sick, but I'm kind of fighting it off. But anyway, on today's show, we will have AJ Hawk. He will join us over the phone.
Are you gonna call him Nighthawk, or can you think of any other cartoons with Hawk and Hawk character?
Hawkman. I know it's easy, but right, yeah, he was one of the Super Friends.
Yeah.
The Super Friends, really, when you think about it, you didn't need all of them. For sure, you didn't need Robin. Robin, this day and age, I think would come in handy because he would be like your software guy. You absolutely need Superman.
Absolutely. But that's pretty much the whole team, right?
Well, Batman's paying the bills, so you need Batman.
Okay. All right.
You need Wonder Woman.
I guess Robin comes with Batman. You know what I mean? It's like a package deal.
Nah, I think Robin can be left at home.
No, but that's what Batman says. Like, he's like, I'm funding this, so I'm bringing Robin with me. You're coming up, stand by.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world. George is giving me a funny look. He thinks I'm joking, but I'm not. This is MMA Junkie Radio. I am Goes. To my right is... I like it, Danny. That's pretty good.
I'm glad.
I had a feeling we hadn't started.
We have started, George.
This is the show?
Started
this is the show.
Oh. What happened like 10:02 or 10:03?
That was like a month ago.
I've been pretty proud of the fact that I rarely have ever been late.
Uh-huh.
I think it was back in 2013 or something like that. I went, I'm never late. And I was late twice in 1 week. You want to know something?
Sure.
I was actually downstairs since 8:30.
Yeah.
I finished physical therapy around 8. And then I was just finishing a breakfast I had bought because I take some Advil before I do the physical therapy. It was pretty rough. So I was downstairs, and it was around 8:30. I was in the parking lot, and I was really, really tired. So I just said, I'm going to lay down, or I'm just going to recline the seat. And then I started getting texts. I got the one from Misha. You know,
so that's a no-go?
Yeah, unfortunately, she was going to be our co-host today. So I got the one from her. And, I mean, like, I remember it was like 9:37. I go, well, let me start, you know, moving around here and getting up there to do the pre-show and all that. And then I got a call from Mom, and we were talking about some stuff. And I told her it was like 9:53, 9:54, and I go, hey, I got to get going. And I got to go, you know. So I went to the other side of the car, and it wouldn't open. I go, shit, I locked myself out, which is impossible because if the fob is inside the car, it won't do it. So I tried all the locks, but when I went back to the original door, because I have to go all the way around, reaching over is painful at times. When I went back around, it did open. All right, cool. I'm getting all my stuff, but I parked kind of far because I wanted to get the radio reception and walk a little bit. And now I just remembered that I just don't walk as fast. I mean, the stairs is the slowest. I go step by step by step. It's not like before where if I was in a hurry, I could fly down and run in here and do whatever. But yeah, I was actually down there around 8:30 and just kind of closing my eyes, resting because I had to get up really early to go to the physical therapy early on Friday morning.
How'd it go?
It wasn't as painful as other sessions, but the exercises are making up for when I have to do the sharpshooter. The sharpshooter isn't as bad the last few weeks because I'm actually gaining good numbers. But like now she's making me do a lot of exercises. But if you were to go in there and do what I do, you'd laugh your ass off. You go, this? It's just that's how weak that leg is, that I can't, you know, some stuff is just, it hurts. And what hurts the most is my hips and my lower back and my feet. Not so much the actual patellar tendon that we're slowly strengthening, or even the quad and calf muscles that are slowly coming back. It's been my hip and my feet. It's just these sharp pains, you know. But it has to do with just, I think, the squat. I think just a lot of muscles are like, what the fuck's going on? You haven't been doing anything like this in a long time. And so that part was pretty painful. Then we get to the part where I have to bend my leg, but I feel like my knee's like swelling up a lot. And so I'm thinking, oh man, she's gonna say we're at 90 degrees and we gotta somehow get to, last week was 114, we were shooting for about 120, and all of a sudden she goes, okay, lay on your back, bend your leg, let's see where you're at. But because I've been doing all these exercises and my knee's been swelling, I'm thinking, like I said, it's gonna be 90. And she goes, okay. She goes, we're at 110. I'm like, what, 110? She goes, yeah. I go, we're at 110 right now? She goes, yeah. Cool, the pain hasn't even begun yet, you know, and we're already at 110.
Oh, no.
And so she goes, yeah. So we started doing stuff, you know, but really the leg can only get to about 130. Everyone thinks it's like I'm shooting for 180. I can't. You can't do that. I mean, you know, you only really need it to physically function till about 130, I guess, for most things, unless you're going to go out there and compete.
You're doing a limbo contest
professionally and do stuff, yeah. So I'm already getting close, and so we got, you know, 110 to 112 and 115 and 118 was pretty painful. I think I could have pushed for 120, but like I said, I mean, I was like kind of sweaty, honestly, and I was tired, and I think if she would have said we got to get 120, I would have done it, but 118 was already getting painful. And like I said, the workout was really, really tough. So I was pretty satisfied, honestly. And then we iced it for 15 minutes. And then, like I said, I was actually downstairs for like 90 minutes. I guess missed time. I got thrown off by that phone call. Yeah. But, yeah, unfortunately, about 45 minutes ago, this is what was thrown my way. She said, hey, something came up. I can do 11 to 12. Or if you want, we can reschedule. And I thought, I'd rather get 2 hours of Misha Tate than 1 hour today. You know what I mean? Because our other guest is AJ Hawk, former professional football fighter or player, now the co-host of MMA Tonight on SiriusXM Rush 93. And I felt we could have a good conversation with him about the national championship game. He has a national championship with the Buckeyes. The Super Bowl or the playoffs. You know, he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. And, of course, everything that happened in 2018 and what he expects or 2017, what he expects in 2018. You know, his show MMA Tonight with RJ Clifford. I just figured, you know, lots to cover there. And if she showed up at 11, then that's about the time AJ was going to be on. Then really we're going to probably be left with a half hour of Misha, you know, after the commercials and all.
Yeah.
So that's why I said let's book it for next week.
That was a good move.
Yeah. So apologies, folks. Would have loved to have her here and pick her brain. You know, I think WMMA, women's MMA, had a strong close to 2018. A great fight between Holly Holm and Chris Cyborg and Tisha Torres, Esparza, Calvillo, Rose. I mean, there was really some good fights to close out the year. And heck, we could even throw Amanda and Valentina. That was last quarter of 2017. So I love picking her brain about that. She made the announcement that she's expecting her first child in May, I believe. So, you know, that would have been nice to talk about as well. She was just in Japan to corner her bestie, like she likes to say, Cindy Dandois from Belgium. She's got her new hope.
Cyborg 2.
What's that?
She's been asking for Cyborg 2 for
Misha?
some time. No, Cindy.
Yeah. And the other one was she's also got a new show. And we probably should have had her on by now, honestly, just to promote that. You know, I think that's something we've always supported on the channel when new shows are launching. You know, just have the hosts on our show and have them tell the world what they plan on doing. But MMA Tonight is back, and it's a show on our channel that it's on Tuesdays after Luke Thomas' show, and it's 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And Tuesday and Thursday is RJ Clifford. He's back on the channel with AJ Hawk. And Wednesdays is Sean O'Connell with Misha Tate. So it's the same show, MMA Tonight. It's just different hosts on the one day versus the Tuesday-Thursday show, which is the same guys, RJ Clifford and AJ Hawk. Oh, Goes, did you knock me out? Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
So, anyway, AJ Hawk will be on at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk Super Bowl, or playoffs, really. We'll talk NC2A Championship. And, of course, mixed martial arts with him. I can't wait to talk to him and pick his brain. And, of course, we invite you all to call in 866-522-2846. Call in at any time throughout the 2-hour show. There'll be plenty of pockets for us to chat about anything that's on your mind in this great sport of ours. Now, on a personal front, like I said, these workouts are I'm starting to get my mojo back. I'm hoping that 2018 is a lot better for me than the way 2016 closed out. And I appreciate all the nice messages that I get, you know, when I do post stuff that has to do with physical therapy. The other day, I think for the first time I was able to cycle forward, and not just backwards, but forward as well. And today when I sat on that machine, it was smooth sailing. You know, I just there wasn't that little hump you have to kind of get over that's kind of painful. You just kind of push through. And so that was really, really important for me. And then today I was able to sit down for the first time and do it without pain. And so I know I'm making progress. That's the good thing. I know I'm making progress. I have to do these exercises at home, and they suck. A few of them suck. And I've gotten some cramps in the legs that are very painful. But, it's less and less of those. And, like I said, every week that percentage goes up. So really, thank you very much for all the messages. Are we all good here? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He just wanted to wish us a happy new year.
Oh, okay.
See how we're doing.
Yeah. The big boss, the number 2 guy in Mandalay Bay, was just standing over here to my right. And I was wondering, is this where he lets us know we're remodeling the...
That's what's so weird.
The sports book, and we're on our way out, or what?
Do you think that comes from being, like, troublemakers as kids or something? Because, like, have you ever noticed if you get pulled over by a cop, even if you have everything in order, it's still kind of like, oh, man, what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. Even though you haven't done anything wrong. Like, do you think everybody feels like that? Or it's just
yeah. No, everybody feels that way. I have a pretty good driving record, but I just... Yeah, I guess authority. You just have a feeling, they're gonna say something that you don't like, or who knows what. I don't think there's anything anyone could ever find. Hey, hold on a second. Back in '89, you did this. I mean, nothing that would lead me for them to put the handcuffs on. I don't carry anything illegal in my car, so I'm not sweating that. I'm just don't like the fact that he's approaching the car, and who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was very nice of him. Rick Fields, you guys have heard of us talk about Rick Fields. He's
there
the
for our
casino
2000
manager at Mandalay Bay here, and he's always made us feel so welcome. You know, I'll touch a topic real fast. It came up the other day. So this hotel has actually gotten a lot of facelifts in the last few years. If you'll recall, when we first moved here, that tower to our right, there's 2 towers at Mandalay Bay. This hotel is called the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Within Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, there's 2 towers. There's the Mandalay Bay Tower and what used to be the hotel. The hotel then rebranded itself as the Delano. Some of you call it the Delano. If you just want to make that switch now, it's the Delano. And the easy way to remember is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Because I had to ask him, too. I go, is it the Delano or the Delano? I go, it's the Delano. Okay, so since then, I've just called it the Delano. And so a lot of those rooms got changed up, and they kind of just wanted a little bit more of a swanky lobby and feel to it. And so that's what they did. They added this Michael Jackson show, which is part of the Cirque shows that have a theme. The pool got expanded. Now they have a version of like what Rehab and Wet Republic are at, Hard Rock and MGM respectively, where they have DJs, well-known DJs come in and spin during the day and also at night. And so that, along with just the pool, getting expanded and getting a facelift. The convention center upped its size as well. And so a topic that was coming up is the sports book. When's that coming? We haven't talked to Rick. This would have been a good chance. He probably wouldn't have been able to address it here, but it'd be nice to just chat with him for about 15 minutes, you know what I mean? And ask him. But for some reason, I think that's got to be closer than it was before. Just because of the way everything's moved around, and because I think a lot of people are talking about it. The waitresses, the workers up here, the people that have come here. It just seems to pop up a lot in topic, and I think at some point the hotels listen.
Yeah, I mean, the last conversation I had with anyone about that was that when the Raiders arrive, more than likely there will be a change. But it's not so much layout as it is screens.
Yeah, because this is a big sports book.
Our layout, I think our layout is the best one in Vegas. Okay?
Well, the Westgate's pretty impressive, too.
But the layout isn't great either because it's kind of like almost like a horseshoe. It's really weird. There's not very many like the seating opportunities. I think ours is just right where a lot of people can actually find a seat. Everything's in front of you. You're not like rubbernecking all the way over here to see this or to see that. So layout-wise, I think we're awesome.
Yeah. Well, the MGM a few years ago, theirs isn't very big, but what makes theirs really cool is those skybox suites that they have at the top.
Those are cool.
So, now put in Legacy Stadium with the stadium seating and then all the private little rooms they have that surround it. I've always thought that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a sports book. You can walk up and make a bet.
But they have a sports book in the hotel.
Well, I guess it's a part of the satellite. What do you call it? A satellite sports book?
I guess.
Yeah. So I think it's legit. The Silverton near our home, they have great screens. It's going to happen. Now, the funny thing is, he once jokingly said something along the lines where plans that were presented and somehow we got phased out. And he kind of chuckled as if to say, hey, don't want that too bad because there's a scenario where maybe the studio goes too. But as Goes and I looked at each other like
Shaggy and Scooby.
What the heck? Yeah. He put his hand on our shoulders and said, listen, you guys are our family now. And if it's not in the sportsbook, we will find you a home in any of the MGM properties, which could mean MGM, Monte Carlo, Excalibur, Luxor, wherever. But he made it sound like the goal would be to keep us here, to keep us in the sportsbook, and to maybe figure out a plan in which you guys, exist, even with the plan presented where you don't exist. Figure it out somehow. So, luckily, that was a few years ago. We haven't touched it since then, but I feel like they're going to do this thing soon. And by that, I mean maybe 2018, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with us. Not as many people go into that room, and we'd love to have that real estate, right?
Yeah.
the high roller room, they call it. It's just more of a private area where you can not have to hear all these numbskulls out there sweating a $20 bet. You know, these people are like putting thousands of dollars on each game, each horse race, and they want to hear it all, and they want to hear the call of the races, and so they're a little bit more isolated. Plus, now there's live betting, remote betting, who knows what, and they save themselves a trip of walking up there. There's a fridge, the waitresses come in and do whatever, but
Technology
that all
everything.
Compared to what MGM has, it's got some catching up to do, and they will do it. Anyway, off topic there a little bit, but again, we kind of have a shift in what we were going to talk about today. This is normally where we'd be talking to Misha Tate, but we have rescheduled for next week, and she'll come in and do a 2-hour co-host with us. 866-522-2846 is the number to call in. Man U plays today, by the way.
Yeah.
You excited?
Nah, because it's not a...
It's
I
FA.
mean, anytime you get to see them play, it's fun, but...
That's the two competitions that they stand a better chance of winning because they're already out of the League Cup. And as far as the league itself, look, man, that's no league is insurmountable nowadays, but that's a pretty tough one, with especially how good Man City's playing. And so the race there is to finish top 4. But if you win FA Cup and or Champions League, then I think it's a productive season. So it'll be interesting to watch the boys go there. How about Frank Gore? He reached 14,000 yards in football. I'm happy for him. He was a Niner for at least 10 years. And last couple he's been with the Indianapolis Colts. But 14,000 yards in this day and age, that's amazing. I think he's the number 5 rusher of all time.
That's for running backs. That dynamic has changed so much in like the last 5 years. Now they have running back by committee. You're not going to see records like that anymore.
Also, just because I went into football for a sec, congrats to Gabe from Laguna Hills and Jerry from Seattle. They won Squid's Eliminator, where you only have to pick a team each week.
Mm-hmm.
Hal made it to the Final Four. Hal from Chicago. So I was rooting for him to maybe get in that split somehow. And here's what happened. Like in week 14, 2 guys went out on Sunday. Hal was one of 2 guys that had the New England Patriots on a Monday night. So it should have been a 2-horse race. And more than likely, those 2 guys probably would have split it, or maybe they would have went a week just to see how it went. And that's when New England got upset. I think it was by Miami. So it brought all 4 of them back. Even though they lost one day later, it didn't matter. It's all considered 1 week, Thursday through Monday. And so Gabe, I believe, was one of the ones that caught a break there because he had to have been looking and saying, New England, oh, my goose is cooked. New England just, they lose 2-3 games a year, and you don't figure Miami's going to be one of them. So it's unfortunate for Hal, but they were down to 2, and they decided to split it. I can live with that because they completed the whole season, and so now you'd be going into the playoffs, and I guess there'd be a little bit of the you'd have to maybe pick a team that you weren't supposed to do. So
yeah, I think once you get to the end of the season, that's it.
So they split it. And then, remember I had to apologize to the Cavemen because the Cavemen from Tustin had beaten us 2 years in a row. We actually took them down this year in Squid's College Bowl poll. College Bowl pool. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so congratulations to us. How about that? Pretty stoked about that. They've been talking some crap, and we get them back. That's all I have, really, in terms of football because I'm just not a fantasy footballer anymore. And
I didn't miss it one bit.
I do my parlays here and there, but you all don't want to hear about that. I did find the 2 tickets from UFC 139 when I flew to San Jose as a fan, not a media member, as a fan. And I met up with some other junkies, and that was headlined by Dan Henderson and Mauricio Shogun Hua. And that fight card was probably the best I've ever done gambling. It was the most fun I've ever... Well, no, not the most fun because it's hard to really quantify that. I've been to a lot of events. I've had fun at all of them. But I really had a good time with the junkies. I was hitting my plays. A lot of the fighters that I guess we weren't doing staff picks then, but the ones I was leaning towards, they were winning. And it was just really, really a fun night. I saw my friend Amir, who I used to work with at the attorney's
Good boy.
office. I saw him that weekend. I saw Brad Hunstable, the former CEO of Ustream. Met him there for the first time, and Stitch was out there hanging out with us. It was really an awesome night. That was the night of one of the greatest fights, probably the greatest fight I've ever seen in person. And the funny thing is, it may not have even been the best fight of that night, because Eddie Alvarez and Michael Chandler fought in Bellator, and a lot of people said that was a great fight. And of course, I watched it and thought it was a great fight. It had a finish, and what made it great was our boy Chandler came through. But that other one, man, just it was like they were peeling him off. Goes Shogun and Hendo, peeling him off after round 3 and round 4, just to get him to the corner to sit him on the stool. And if you watch them, like, they'd put like a sponge of water on their head, and it would fall down, and you could just tell like that was the best thing that they've ever felt in their life. They just sat there, and then it would hit them 10 seconds later. Wait a minute, I have 30 seconds left, and I have to go battle that guy again. They were fucked up, man. They left a little bit of something in that octagon. That
rounds 4 and 5 were kind of sloppy, right? Because they were just so tired.
They're exhausted.
And I think that's what made the Chandler fight better. Was it went somewhat deep, but it also had a finish.
They dug deep,
and they went at it up until that finish. So that's why I watched them both, and I think the Chandler fight was better.
They dug deep, man. They were doing stuff that just you shouldn't be able to do after hitting each other that hard.
But that's the greatest live fight you've ever seen, huh? Because you've seen some pretty good ones. Like Diaz-Gomes got to be up there.
It is, but I think that one gets played a little bit. I mean, to get submitted by a Gogo Plata,
But he was getting tooled.
He was. They hit each other. It was part of an amazing card, but it's up there. It's just up there. But I don't, rewatch it. When's the last time you rewatched it?
Maybe
Rewatch it, just take a look, and you'll kind of go, oh, I see. And the same could be said for that other one. But I remember that night just sitting there, and nobody could believe that they kept going back and forth the way they were, and that they were. They were standing there at times not even able to move because they had expended almost all the energy they had. Oftentimes you'll say, like the other day we were saying, could Holly Holm have given just a little bit more in round 5, stolen that round, and now be the world champion? Because she was able to. Her eye was fucked up and everything, but the other two could almost not stand. Like they had to Kellen Winslow them, back like that. That's one where they had given it their all. Ask Mike from Humboldt, same thing.
Gagey Palomino, that one's up there for me too.
Yeah.
That's probably a good topic for today. What's the best fight you've seen live?
Yeah, that's a damn good one. I will say this. Another thing I like is that they're both, former champs, Hall of Famers, fighting each other. But anyway, 866-522-2846. Let's get this first break out of the way, and then we'll start touching on some news as well as taking some calls. And I'll send a reminder to AJ Hawk, because he'll be on in about half an hour. Former linebacker for the Green Bay Packers, former All-American for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and now the co-host of MMA Tonight on Tuesdays and Thursdays with RJ Clifford, 3 to 6 Eastern. Catch them on our channel, SiriusXM Rush 93. We'll be right back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93.
what they say, and your life will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
The fantasy football season continues with the wild card weekend on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. I like that song. Turn it up, Danny. I'll power through it. Whether you're competing in fantasy football, playoff fantasy football tournaments, or daily contests, listen to the best analysts break down this weekend's NFL matchups from fantasy football perspective so you can win. SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius 210, XM87, and the SiriusXM app. This is the Killers, right?
Yeah.
Are they touring anytime soon?
Yeah, they're actually at the MGM, I believe.
Yeah.
In April or around there, somewhere, something like that.
I
saw
like
it
the
on
song
the way
so
out
much
of
that
the-
I overplayed it and pissed off a friend once.
Yeah, he asked you, can you please never play that again?
Yeah. He goes, is he a He started going on, what the fuck? Is he human? Is he a dancer? I'm going nuts here.
Let me see where that.
It was an older cat, an older buddy of mine. Do you like the Killers, Danny?
I do. I really, really like their first album, and then I like songs off of every album after the first one, but the whole first album I thought was the best, at least
Yeah?
in my opinion. Yeah.
Danny, what's a band where if their singer, we'll just say, no longer wanted to continue, I'm not going to say died, no longer wanted to continue or wasn't able to continue, that you would be hoping the band called you because you think you could hit the notes they did and do what that guy did?
Do I have to hit every note? Do I have to do... Here's
No,
my
you can
question.
come close.
Do I have to do exactly what the singer did, or can I... Like, my question more is, like, do I have... If the singer plays guitar and sings, do I have to do both, or can I
No, let's
just
just
sing
worry
and they're
about the
gonna get
vocals. They're a band that you like, and they respect you so much. They've already come to you and say, "We think you can do it, guy."
I mean, I'd love to sing for Blink-182. Could easily.
You
hit
could
all
do
those
do
notes.
everything that guy can do. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Travis or something like that?
No, Travis is the
it's,
drummer.
Mark DeLong, is that his name?
Well, you just combined.
Oh,
both
wait,
of
wait.
them.
Oh, sorry,
It's
yeah.
Mark Hoppus.
Mark Hoppus.
And then the older stuff was Tom DeLonge, but Tom left the band.
But you could
No.
sing everything those guys can sing. You could hit those
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah,
I was going to say Newfound Glory.
I would
For
love
you?
to do
For
Newfound
him.
Glory.
Oh, for him.
Yeah, I would love to do that too.
Play a Newfound Glory song.
All right, give me a second.
All right.
Listen to the rest of Human, and I'll.
For
Get
me,
You
it'd
got
have, it'd have to be Enya or something like that.
Anya.
Yeah, she never says anything, right?
Well, she's still like, or
Does she?
I think, yeah.
Okay, so the Killers are... We kind of get the shaft on this one, George.
Why is that?
They're February 3rd at the MGM Grand Garden, but they play the first and the second.
Sounds
at
like the day
Staples.
before Super Bowl or something like that.
Maybe they play the first and the second at Staples, so they're gonna be tired by the time they get to MGM. They're just gonna go wrap it up. No
This
encore
is
tonight.
Vegas.
Maybe.
You know, that's where the guy goes,
Now his
Vegas,
voice
this is where we're
hurting.
from. We're going strong. We're closing out.
That's true. Or they could go. I mean, we'll be back here anyway next month.
They're not going to say that.
No.
On MMA Junkie, they've been doing some awards that we've kind of talked about a few, and a few may have slipped past us. But the comeback of the year was one that we kind of all chatted as a group, you know, between the editors, the writers, the radio guys. And it was fun because when you come back, when you have a comeback of the year, you could have had a shitty 2016 and you came back in 2017 as a career, kind of like a career comeback. And at the same time, you could also come back in a fight, and that's exactly what happened in the one that was chosen. The Damage, that's Darren Elkins, who has a fight coming up, by the way, and he's won 5 in a row. Fighting now out of Team Alpha Male in Sacramento. He came back against Mirsad Bektik. Now, that's a fight I was at, and that may have been the best comeback I've ever seen. Like, I
Let's
saw
come
that in
back
person,
live.
and I remember the odds were huge, and the crowd went nuts, man. Just because he was primal right after the fight, you know what I mean?
I mean, we're not leaving anything behind here.
What's that?
Best comeback ever seen live. Because I was there too, and right away that stands out. But I don't know.
I
I
mean-
feel like there may be one that we.
It's just one that jumps out at me, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, trust me. No one's going to call you on it. If somebody says, oh, well, back in 97, don't you remember we saw, oh, well, fuck, I forgot. You know who's the king at that? Jeremy Botter. Jeremy Botter, you could hand him a burger, and he'll go, best ever. It's not even a contest, and he'll tweet about it.
Mm-hmm.
And a week later, he'll do that again about another burger. But I don't think he counts on people checking him. So he just, that's his style, is whatever he's feeling at that moment, it's the best ever. Like, I think the other day, he just saw the best tweet ever. And if you go into his account, he's got thousands of tweets. Can he really remember them all? But that's just his style. I like it.
Congo Pat Berry. Oh, no, we didn't see that one live.
That was in Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
The Smith, remember the Scott Smith ones?
Yeah.
Where he played possum? You know, those were good ones,
With
too.
Drago.
But this one had something to it, man. For two rounds or so, this guy was getting his butt kicked. Mirsad Bektik should still be undefeated. And, you know, one of those big names at 45 that everyone's talking about. That fight was a big setback to him. If I'm not mistaken, he's not with American Top Team anymore. So, you know, it was a change of locale there, coaching. And this is coming off a serious knee injury. So we'll see. But that dude's kind of like one of those guys that's programmed. And you know he's going to have a good comeback. I can't wait to see it. But we're closing in on a year because right now they're booking March. So let's just say right now if they were to announce where Sad Bektik is back, it would probably be on a February-March show, and that's one whole year. I'm telling you, man, a lot of these MMA fighters are just not fighting as often. Sucks. Iaquinta, if they were to book him today for March or maybe April, it'd be 1 year as well. And that's a guy
Diego?
that... Yeah. That was in
Holy
April of
shit.
last year. Time flies in this sport, man. Our lives are... They're not the same because we're so consumed in this sport, but everything has to do with, you know, what's happening. And usually you use those fights to gauge and go, holy shit, that was that long ago. Yeah, man. I think Danny could pull off that Newfound Glory. I was listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like some of the stuff he does, right?
A little bit, yeah. Would you do that, Danny? You like that band?
Yeah, I really like Newfound Glory. I think they're
Now
good.
here's the question that you may not know the answer to. But if the singer for Newfound Glory, something happened to him and he was gone. He was gone. There was nothing they could do about it. And they came to you, how many other good singers are out there that you'd be competing against, or you would feel that they went to and they declined before they got to you? Like, are you pretty? Are you pretty
Probably a
good?
long list.
Okay, so you're a fair singer, an average singer. How would you classify yourself? I know it's a tough question, but
It's really tough because I don't think I sing very good at all. I'm really good endorsing myself, but it's mainly because when I listen to anything that we do, I hear my own voice. Like, I don't know what my singing voice sounds like.
right.
Because I only hear myself. The only thing that I can go by is that some people have said that I have a pretty interesting voice, have a good voice, stuff like that. I don't really know. So I'm sure though that they would. There's plenty of people probably in front of me though.
What do you think?
Probably have to agree. There's guy. I mean, there's
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give him?
his singing voice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that he has like a singing voice, right? I think it's just like his voice, like so he's like screaming and shit. Well, I think just an average dude gets a 5, right? So then he's got to be like a 7, 7.5.
I don't know. I guess, yeah. But I'll tell you this much, and I've said it a few times, and now you guys are going to think I'm on his jock, but that Adam Levine guy shocked the hell out of me. I've heard of Maroon 5. I've heard their songs. I've heard them over the years. I like them. I hear them here a lot in Mandalay Bay, actually. But they never, like, grasped me, you know, like where I said, oh, I got to catch those guys, or anything like that. It wasn't one of those. If you're driving long distance, I could be on a 20-hour ride, and I probably wouldn't get around to playing Maroon 5.
Oh yeah.
But now I go and I sit down and go to the concert, and again, I'll probably go one other time. I don't know that I'm racing to get to that concert again. It was fun. I had a good time. But the one thing that I was shocked about was how good that guy's voice was. He had a powerful voice, like Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. Now, not like, you know, where you feel like he's gonna lose his voice, like Steven Tyler. Nothing like that. But it was one of those like Christina Aguilera voices where he's just like, I mean, whatever he yelled, just boom, the speakers, you know. And
There's only a few people
that's
that have
pretty
that
special.
uniqueness to them, right?
Yeah.
Like I think if you took Bono out of U2, I think you find another guy that could do that. What's the guy from Stone Temple Pilots? Was it Scott Weiland? Like he had that type of voice too, or
He felt replaceable.
Eddie Vedder. No, not replaceable.
Oh, irreplaceable.
Eddie Vedder as well. Like I don't think you could find someone to do that. Can you play Stone Temple Pilots, Danny?
You know Matt Erickson. When he said Eddie Vedder was like, motherfucker, you better say the right thing.
Yeah, he was
cracking his
he was
knuckles.
wrapping his hands.
Yeah. If he's listening.
Dipping
Who
it
knows?
in glass.
Here's some announcements of some fights. Tim Means versus Sergio Moraes. Okay, you heard what I told Al Quinta yesterday. Remember I told him, when your name pops up that you're fighting someone, we're like, oh, cool. Where is it? You know, like, yeah, nice. How do you feel about Means and Moraes? What's your reaction?
I like it. I told you during the commercial break, I like that matchup. It's going to be fun.
I like Means. So
You don't like Moraes?
a little bit, not as
funny.
much.
He's always got that dumb smile.
Yeah, but I think I'm more into Means.
Mhm.
So I see Means, I'm like, cool, he's fighting. Moraes, okay. I'm happy about the fight. Cool, but there's just a lot of these guys that are out there that I enjoy watching. You know, they don't have to be like the most skillful, or they don't have to all be the world champions, but if there's something about them that I like, I'm into it. Like, I like his intensity, Tim Means. You know what I mean? And I like Quinta's character a little bit of, you know, the trashing of the room and butting heads a little bit, calling out the president. I don't know. I've kind of, even though I don't always agree with it, I don't know if in the long run that's his best move. He's doing it, and he's sticking out from what other fighters normally do.
That's the important thing, because you're in an era where everybody's just about has the same look. They all wear the same thing. They all say the same things. But what I like about Iaquinta is, now that we're in that era, when you see these promos, you have to be convinced right on the spot to watch that fight, and he's very good at giving you those 2-3 minutes that right away sell you on the fight.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know that Tim Means can do that. I don't know that Sergio Moraes can do that. It's just hard, man. Guys get lost in the shuffle, but all Al needs is a minute, 2 minutes, and he'll get you.
Douglas D'Andrade versus Marlon Vera. That fight booking, along with the Means and Moraes booking, is headed to UFC Belém, which is headlined by Lyoto Machida and Eric Anders. I don't know if a lot of people caught on to that because it kind of happened over the holidays, but Eric Anders got his wish. He'll face Lyoto Machida at, we'll call it UFC Belém, but on Junkie we use the numbering system. Probably like 125 or something like that.
We get a cut of that, right?
I hope. Also, get this. In Austin, James Vick got his fight. He's facing Francisco Trinaldo. All right, UFC Fight Night 126. But check out these tickets for UFC Fight Night 126. They go on sale today. Today. 135 gets you cage side. I'm telling you, man, that's a good price. If you haven't gone to an event, or even if you have, but if you haven't had the chance to sit cage side, go. I think you'll really, really appreciate it. Try for those first 3 rows. But if you can get in row 1, do it. I think you'll just really enjoy the product. I think you'll feel like it's money well spent. And you'll rarely hear me say the letters UFC, cage side, and then start off by saying 100 and something. I mean, I think the lowest I've ever seen is like 200, 250, 500, 800, 1,000, whatever. But 135 is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
135
Fun
is
City.
so low where I start to go, well, if Southwest isn't expensive, maybe I could just go for the day or go the night before.
Let's look it up.
Look, you want to look it up?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give you the dates.
What do you think of Stone Temple Pilots?
I've always liked them. It takes place on the 18th, goes. Now let's just make sure the 18th is a Saturday. February 18th is a Sunday. We're doing another Sunday? Okay. It says here on Junkie it's on February 18th. So now we wouldn't have to miss any shows. So get us out of here on a Friday after the show on Southwest to Austin and see if we can get us from Austin
Monday morning?
back to Vegas Monday morning. The Sunday show shouldn't be the Sunday night shouldn't be as expensive in Austin because Sunday nights aren't as bad. The one weekend night might sting a little bit. But see how that's looking. Now, just so you know, here's what the rest of the card is like in Austin that they put together. Donald Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros, quality main event. Derek Lewis versus Marcin Tybura. I'm feeling that. Sage Northcutt versus Thibault Guti. Tanya Evinger versus Marion Renault. Brian Camozzi versus Jeff Neal. Jessica Aguilar versus Livia Hanata Souza. Joby Sanchez versus Roberto Sanchez. Sarah Moras versus Lucy Pudilova. Well, that's 3 female fights, huh? Francisco Trinaldo versus James Vick. Diego Ferreira versus Jared Gordon. And Ray Borg versus Brandon Moreno. So right away, the fights that jump out at me are Borg Moreno, Vic Trinaldo, and I'm really into Evanger and Renault. I think that'll be a good one. Luis Tabora, and yeah. So yeah, you got about 5 quality matchups. Oh, what the fuck is this? There's also a platinum ticket option for $250. What does that mean? Isn't cage side as good as you get? What's platinum?
I don't know.
You get to judge the fight? Huh.
112 and 112.
Up and back?
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't like that 59 or nothing like that?
No, unfortunately.
There wasn't a 59 and if you left at
and 112 is
PM?
like leaving at a stupid time. 7:30. And you get a... no, this one's nonstop.
To Austin?
Yeah, 7:30 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
And then you come back, you leave there 5:40 a.m. You get here at 6:45 a.m.
On Monday?
Mm-hmm.
112, huh? There was nothing cheaper throughout the day?
112 is the cheapest.
To Austin. Well, it is about a 3-hour flight. I don't know why I keep thinking 59. It's not like we're going to Long Beach or anything like that. That's not a bad fight card, folks. And that's not a bad price. I'll give it up. So, Vic, again, versus Trinaldo. You happy for Vic there? I think he got what he wanted. He didn't get a higher up, but that's a veteran name that pops. And if you beat Trinaldo, you can go, I've beaten this guy. I've beaten this guy. I've beaten Trinaldo. No one will stop you and go, oh, hold on a second, fella. Trinaldo, come on. Nobody's going to say that because Trinaldo's tough. So it's a quality fight for him.
I'm happy he's on the card, but I saw a poster and he wasn't on it. Obviously, this just happened, so he's probably... I think eventually they'd probably put him on it, but it just kind of broke my heart to see that card that he wanted to be on and not see his face on it.
John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz. I like that fight. It's at UFC Fight Night 29. So that's where? That's the one in Belém, Brazil. Okay. We got to go to commercial. So as Danny plays the music, let me tell you who's on that fight card. Eric Anders versus Lyoto Machida. Davison Figueiredo. I like that guy. Versus Joseph Morales. That's Faber's guy. Thiago Maheta Santos versus Anthony Smith. Smith's been on a roll. Luis Enrique versus Timothy Johnson. Priscilla Cachoeira versus Valentina Shevchenko. Pollyanna Viana versus Maya Stevenson. That's Joe Daddy's wife?
I don't know.
She made it, huh? She made it into UFC. Damir Hadzovic versus Alain Patrick. Yuri Alcantara versus Joe Soto. Desmond Green versus Michelle Praceres. And John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz. That's actually not bad. Some of the fight nights have stunk it up a little bit, but this one's actually really good. I don't know what their ticket situation is. You'll have to figure that out, but that's UFC Fight Night 125. That's February 3rd, so that's really coming up. Okay, folks, we got to take this break. When we come back, we'll take some calls. 866-522-2846. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, I'll dispense with the read for now. Well, this is a quick one. Start your day with SiriusXM. Enable the SiriusXM skill on Amazon device. You tell Alexa to set an alarm for your favorite channel. You'll wake up to the sounds of SiriusXM. With SiriusXM and Alexa, you can get the latest sports news each morning without picking up your phone or turning on your beachy TV. All right, this is Eric Nicksick from Extreme Couture. He's their general manager, and he also coaches a lot of the fighters like Uriah Hall and Dan Ige. Welcome back, Eric. How you doing?
Good, Wed. Good to see you.
Awesome.
Good to see you sitting in the studio now.
Yeah, look at that bad boy.
I know, right?
Starting to heal, it's starting to bend, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's good, bro. It looks good.
Yeah. Can you hang out for a while?
Yeah, I can hang out.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, cool. So let me take this guy's call, and then we're going to come up against an hour. I'd like you to hang out for the A.J. Hawk interview because you're a
Let's do
football
it.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got some questions. He's been a national champion in college football.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
He's been a Super Bowl champion. Playoffs are starting, and then he knows his way around MMA for sure.
For sure.
He co-hosts on our channel. All right, so this is Showtime in Tennessee. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time. It's yo time. Showtime.
Sounds like it's
Sounds like he's got no time for us.
Yeah.
All right.
Put him back on hold. Put him in the bathroom.
Yeah. All right. So Eric,
Hey, but
Goes has a question for you.
we got to make a decision soon. All of us.
Oh yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders are coming, and we all. I think Eric, you're kind of a Ronin. You don't really have a pro team,
Yeah,
right?
I'm on.
You and I do. But John Gruden's pretty nice. I think we all have respect for him, right? What are we gonna do?
I'll root for them.
But how do you describe that? Because if they play the 49ers, you're not going to root for the Raiders. I'm not going to root against the Redskins.
Yeah.
So what are we? Are we like fair weather fans?
No, fair weather would be, hey, dude, they're 16-0. We got to get to a game.
Yeah.
Are
Then
we
we're fair
Aaron
weather.
with different jerseys?
No, you're coming in. This is what. So you're basically saying
As long as they're
the
not
team
playing?
is coming. Think about how cool this is. They're coming to Las Vegas in a brand new stadium across from the Mandalay Bay. Which way is it? That way or that way? The stadium. I think it's that way.
It's over there.
I mean, we're gonna have some sort of a connection with them, you know. They're not the Oakland Raiders. When they moved to L.A. for a few years, I went to a few games, and you know, it was kind of cool that there was an L.A. in front of the Raiders. So I still think I really feel like you can have two teams.
But what's
I think
your
the
level
people
of
that bark
commitment?
and say, "Bitch, you can't have two teams." I mean, you better come strong and be one of those weekend guys that's like camping and RVing, and you tattooed Jets or Raiders or Buccaneers. But if you're a casual fan like the rest of us, we're sitting at home. You know, what are you gonna do? You just wear your shirt, you root for them, but
you can't be the yoo-hoo, we did it, guys. You can't be that guy, right?
why not?
Because you have a team in San Francisco.
Well, I'll root for San Francisco. You said if they go head on, I'll root for San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we fall?
Each
Are
weekend
we
I'll just
buying
I'll hope
Raider
both
gears?
teams.
Are you guys gonna buy Raider gear?
I'm all in.
You're all in.
Yeah, I
That's your
gotta
team
be.
now.
I have to be. I mean, I'm a Vegas native, so you know, you get an NFL team out here, and this has always been the team that I never really cared for the Raiders, but
Me neither.
ironically, my favorite player growing up is Jack Tatum.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was the guy I tried to model my play after was Jack Tatum, and he's one of the all-time great Raiders. You know,
One of my favorites was Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
USC guy.
Yeah.
So you know,
I like Jim Plunkett.
Yeah. So I mean, what happens is that's just the way it worked out. You know, I mean, we're here almost 10 years now, and like
Millennials are probably like, who?
like at one point, I didn't really have a college basketball team. I never really got into USC basketball, but I
10
liked
seconds.
North Carolina and what they did. But Goes went to UNLV. I supported UNLV. We'll be right back, folks. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas with your neon flashing and your wild bandits crashing. All those hoes down the drain.
at one point they were trying to make 2019, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Eric Nicksick from Extreme Couture sticking around with us for this second hour, and I'm checking out AJ Hawk's Twitter handle just to see. I always look at their I always look and see what they had recently, because usually they'll say, "Hey, who do you guys have on tonight?" or you know, next show. But I don't know if they booked next Tuesday's show. But yesterday they had Joey Diaz on.
Yeah.
So I got to go back and listen to that one. They must have had a blast with him. AJ Hawk, he is the co-host of MMA Tonight, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now the MMA show, excuse me, the MMA Tonight show is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's AJ Hawk with our good friend RJ Clifford, 6 to 8 Eastern on our channel, Sirius XM Rush 93, and that of course is 3 to 6 Pacific time. He's a former NC2A All-American. And he also won a national title with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. So, man, we should be asking him some of those questions we were just contemplating ourselves about Gruden and fandom and everything. He joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. AJ Hawk, how you doing, AJ?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Great. Welcome to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. We also have Eric Nicksick from Extreme Couture here in studio. We're excited to have you on, buddy.
Hey, it's a fellow. I get to jump on and do 2 nights a week on your guys' channel, so I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a fun little ride for me and RJ on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's been a blast, man. I catch you guys a lot when I'm driving home, and RJ's a good friend of ours. We've actually broadcasted fights with him, so you're in good hands with him. And so, you know, when we first started, or at least I can speak for myself, I'll let Goes speak on his behalf, but you know, obviously I was in there thinking, well, how much does this guy know? You know what I mean? I know a lot of other professional athletes watch our sport, but let's get down to it. But, dude, I was really, really impressed. I mean, you hold your own with when they talk UFC, and then a couple times they shifted to Bellator in the early shows. AJ knows what's going on there. So they got themselves the right guy, man. You must really be a MMA hardcore fan.
Well, I mean, I don't claim to know anything, especially compared to you guys, but I've been a fan. That's kind of how the show even came about. I've just always been a fan of MMA and watched for. I mean, I'd say I've been a solid fan for the last 8 to 10 years, really. And got lucky enough that they asked me to jump on Sirius XM and do a little show with RJ. But RJ's the man. He's so good, and so not only is he smart, he's really funny and witty, and just we have a good time. And as you guys know, when you have someone that you enjoy co-hosting with, it makes it so much better.
Yeah, if he only wasn't such a UCLA nut hugger. We have to butt heads every time to time because we're USC guys. He's a Bruin guy, but, you know, we kind of had the last laugh this last fall. But he really is a great guy, and you guys are kicking ass. Now, we'll get to MMA in just a second, but, AJ, I did want to double dip and really triple dip here on your knowledge because football is really at the forefront right now in terms of if there's really an MMA offseason, it's these, like, week or two. Right after the big show in Vegas for the UFC, and then before they get going in 2018, and right around now is like the meat and potatoes of college football and NFL. We went through a lot of bowl games. So starting with college football, this national championship, Alabama versus Georgia. Man, talk about that. You've been in that environment. You've been in the national championship game. What's it mean to these kids? How big is this game to them? And the reason I ask, because I know it could sound like a silly question where you're like, hey, you big dummy, of course it's big. What I don't get is how many of these guys are also thinking about the next step. I know that in this generation, guys are like missing games or just forecasting the future and worrying about the future rather than the game itself.
Yeah, you're right. It's a huge deal, but especially guys that are seniors on the team or guys that their eligibility is up and they're thinking about declaring for the NFL draft. It's true. Once the last second ticks off that clock Monday night, those guys are free to do whatever they want. It's crazy how they go from having all these rules, restrictions, everything to, bam, they'll probably, if they're declaring for the draft, they'll sign with an agent that night most likely. Those agents will want to scoop them up. You'll sign with an agent and you'll start training for the NFL Combine, but at the same time, you got to find a way to prepare for a national championship game. And I mean, look at Alabama. It seems like they're there every single year. Nick Saban has a great thing going, and they know they're true professionals when they're in college. Any big time program, kids come in and they're ready to play from day one, and they want to find a way to do as well as they can in college and showcase their skills to get to the next level. And you're going to see a ton of future NFLers playing on Monday night.
We were just talking about John Gruden signing here during the commercial, and Eric, who's co-hosting with us here, he played football as well. He was saying Gruden's the type of guy that a lot of these football players are going to run through a door for and play hard for. I feel the same thing for Nick Saban. What is it about some of these coaches, AJ, where these players will give everything, whether it's to the college, to the coach, and then there's other coaches that they just don't click with? What is it that some head coaches miss that the great ones don't?
Oh, I think that the great ones, they know how to build relationships with each individual guy. So in college, a guy like Nick Saban, I mean, there's no question who's in charge. You know he is the boss. And in college, you can be that way. Guys are only there 3 or 4 years. They know that they have to keep their head down and keep working. But they know that you can't – I think all the great coaches I've been around, you have so many different personalities, so many different type of guys in that locker room. You can't coach every guy the same way. And I think guys like Gruden, Saban, they know, like, I can't approach one guy the same way I would the other. Some guys don't respond well to that over-the-top, crazy, embarrassing in front of his teammates type coaching style. So maybe I got to pull this guy aside and let him know I'm disappointed and what I expect from him. And I think guys like that can sense that from an early time when a guy walks on campus or walks into the locker room in the NFL. Those great coaches know how a guy responds and what I need to do to get the most out of him.
Who's the closest we have in MMA, guys, to that type of commanding presence? Greg Jackson?
Probably, but
yeah.
You know, it's amazing the way AJ describes it. That's the same way I feel like it relates from football into MMA. It's almost like quarterbacking your team. You know, being able to talk to 10 other guys certain ways. You can't grab a guy by the face mask all the time. Some guys respond better than that. Some guys you have to sit to the side like he's explaining and talk to them in a different way. They respond better. So no, he nailed it, man. It's a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm jealous of the run Alabama's had. That's just amazing. All those schools are gunning for them every year, and they're still able to pull it off one way or another. We're talking to AJ Hawk, co-host of MMA Tonight, also a former football player, collegiately for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he played many years with Green Bay Packers. So who do you got in that big game, by the way? And then we'll shift to the pros. Georgia's a 4-point dog. We're in Vegas here. We're at the Mandalay Bay. So that's why I'm kind of up to date on that side of things. But Alabama is the favorite. Georgia's the underdog. Who do you like?
I like Alabama. I mean, I think there was a question if Alabama was going to make it into the top 4 to be in the playoffs, and I think they proved in that first game. They manhandled Clemson, and they kind of had their way with them. And Clemson's the defending national champ. So I like Alabama all the way. I mean, I probably would like them even with the points, with 4 points. I still would like Alabama in this one. As you said, they have a factory going there in Alabama with the recruits they have coming in. And those guys, if you're a sophomore or a junior and you're starting on the team, I mean, you know you better play well and you better not get hurt because there's a freshman behind you that's a 5-star recruit waiting to go to the NFL as well. So that healthy competition from within, I think, is what makes them so great.
Can you compare the nights that you won a national championship and a Super Bowl? Is there a 1 and 2, or are they 1A, 1B?
Maybe 1A, 1B, I guess, just because we won the national championship in college. It was my freshman year. We went 14-0. We beat Miami in the national title game, and I was just so young and dumb and naive and figured, oh, this is great. Let's go do it every year. We're going to go undefeated every single season, and I never went undefeated again in my 4 years in college. So I guess I was so naive to how big of a deal it was. It was still amazing, but then luckily we won the Super Bowl my 5th season in Green Bay. So I'm not claiming I was smart or mature or anything at the time, but I knew a little bit. I had a little more of a grasp on what had just happened and how tough it was to get there. We had to go on the road and win 3 playoff games on the road just to get to the Super Bowl after we squeaked into the playoffs. So I kind of understood, I think, through that process, this is a really special thing we were able to do. So I was definitely upset I never got back there, though. After that, I figured I'd go to the next 4 or 5 Super Bowls and never got back. So you still always think you'll make it back, but it's so tough.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Now, in the NFL playoffs, the one thing I know is that the teams that are sitting at home this weekend, they have a huge advantage. Usually, we hear about the gaming circles over here, which games you play and which ones you don't. And the ones that have that bye are just really difficult to unseat, especially in that first week. But, based on all that and all your football knowledge, give me, like, your favorite to win it all and a dark horse to win it all.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, my favorite to win it all, it's tough. It's like picking against Alabama. I can't pick against the Patriots. They're unbelievable. I mean, Tom Brady has 5 rings. He probably should have a couple more. So it's I have a hard time picking against them. But I would say a dark horse, I guess, to win. I mean, it's crazy that it would be a dark horse, but I think the Atlanta Falcons. I think they have so much talent on their team. If they find a way to get back to kind of the form they had last season, I don't see why we can't have a Super Bowl rematch of last year, and Atlanta could find a way to win.
They got a great quarterback, and they got a really fast defense, the Falcons.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Sarkisian's calling plays for them now, right?
He is.
Yeah.
I believe he is, yeah. All right. Well, that kind of takes what I was going to say. But I felt like Pittsburgh, I guess, like just if I had to disagree,
right?
Because the one thing about the Patriots this year is they also give up a lot of yards.
Right.
So if you get in a firefight, I mean, I love what Pittsburgh brings to the table in terms of the big three, the killer bees or whatever. And then the dark horse, I also believe the Atlanta Falcons had some really, really good skills. The team that I think might get upset this weekend, obviously because I'm saying this, is the Rams, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I like the Rams, and I like where they're headed, but I think the Falcons may have something for them.
Yeah. AJ, does the Vikings remind you a little bit of the Ravens back when they won it with Ray Lewis and that defense?
Oh, back in the day, yeah, when their defense was rolling. They do a little bit, yeah, that Mike Zimmer scheme they have. So I spent one season in Cincinnati in that scheme. Zimmer had moved on, but that defensive scheme was still in Cincinnati, and it's really, really good. And those guys have absolutely perfected it, and Zimmer is a great coach. So it really does. And obviously, you can hear all the cliches you want, like, hey, it's a scary team to play in the playoffs when they have such a great defense, and if their offense can just kind of manage the ball and not make huge mistakes. And
right.
The quarterback's been playing well, and their defense is absolutely lights out. If their defense continues to play at that high of a level, yeah, they're going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you start looking in the playoffs and you start delving into the defense and special teams more than anything. It's like, hey, they got a good kicker, they got a guy that can punt, and they got a good defense. They can win playoff games,
Yeah, those things go over. That's what my college coach, Jim Tressel, would always say. He'd say, punt. The most important play in football, man. And when I was young, I thinking, like, what are you talking about? No one cares about punting. Like, it doesn't matter. And then I spent 4 years as a wing on punt team, and I realized real quick how important it is. The field position battle, it's kind of boring to talk to and even to look over the stats of it. But, man, if you check the field position battle in games, whoever usually wins that and the hidden yardage has a much higher percentage to win that game. So it's boring. It's hard to even recognize while the game is happening, but if you can take care of those little things, you have a great chance to win.
AJ Hawk, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's the co-host of MMA Tonight. Catch him on Tuesdays and Thursdays with RJ Clifford from 6 to 8 p.m. live on SiriusXM Rush 93. All right, Goes, what do you have for AJ Hawk?
AJ, we've seen a lot of crossover between the NFL and mixed martial arts. At any time, whether it was college or pro, can you name maybe a couple players that you played with that you thought could possibly transition to MMA and be successful athletes in MMA?
That's a good question. If any of them that could transition over, it would probably be like a D lineman type guy that maybe wrestled in high school. And I mean, maybe an O lineman, but D linemen are usually a little more athletic and can move around. But a guy that had some kind of wrestling background that's used to using his leverage and working with his hands, I would say, if I could think of one specific guy, that's really tough. You know what? One guy I played with, a little fullback by the name of John Kuhn. I think if Kuhn got in the octagon, he could do some damage. He has those short little arms like Mike Tyson. If he could get inside a guy, give him some dirty boxing, take him to the ground, and has a big old head, he could use to push a guy around. I think we could do I don't know if Kuhn's willing to try it, but I think he should.
AJ, we had Patrick Willis come out and train with us a few years back. You could have thrown that dude in right now, and he would have won some fights.
Really?
Patrick Willis.
Yeah, I played against Patrick. I didn't play with him, but that guy he is a freak. I agree. He could do it. Yeah, he's an absolute freak. He was a great player.
From like Mississippi, right?
Ole Miss.
I know we had him for about 8 to 10 years with the Niners.
Yeah, I mean he was probably with the Niners for maybe 2-3 years on, and he came out and trained with us. Jay Glazer brought him over to Couture's, and dude, that guy could fight today.
Wow.
Like he was a stud, man.
What about AJ or Eric or whoever? I was thinking like is maybe a DB. A DB that was very athletic. I'm thinking like 155 pounds or 170 pounds. Take off some of that muscle a little bit. Just because a lot of those guys, I mean, they're so athletic. You know what I mean? They're very skilled hand-eye coordination. And, a lot of those guys are willing to get down. I'm sure you had to have somebody in your locker rooms, AJ, that would just ice somebody if they they got stepped to them. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's plenty of guys like that. Yeah, usually, safeties, the safeties and corners that aren't scared to tackle, those are the guys you love to play with. And that I think could cross over. I played with Pac-Man Jones. I tell you what, no one would ever mess with Pac-Man. He's not the biggest guy, but if Pac-Man got some formal training inside the octagon, he took him in and got him on the ground, some jiu-jitsu, and taught him a few things. That'd be a scary guy to mess with. So who knows? Pac-Man also he works so damn hard. Pac-Man has a kind of attitude you never know. I wouldn't be shocked if he ever did give it a shot.
Listen, there was a kid that played for Ohio State. He was a DB, and this guy could fucking tackle. He could tackle well and hit hard.
Mike Doss.
No, he wound up with the Bills. He signed a big contract with the Bills. I think he was with the Vikings.
Oh,
I don't know what is it an Antoine or a Simpson? I forget who
Nate
it was.
Clement. Antoine Win.
That guy looked like he was aggressive, man. Like you wouldn't want any part of that guy. Did you play with that guy, AJ?
I didn't play with him. I played against him when I got into the NFL. He was obviously defense, and I was a huge. There's a couple techniques at Ohio State that it was when you would jam a guy at the line. We would call it a twan for Antoine Winfield because he was such a monster. We used to watch film of him on how he would hit people with the leverage. He was a little short little guy, and he's scared of guys on offense. So we played him when he was in Minnesota twice a year. And he was probably one of the most underrated players I've ever seen in the NFL, to where didn't get a whole lot of chatter around from different media people, but every player on every team had so much respect for him.
Yeah, he reminded me of like John Lynch and Wes Hopkins from Philadelphia Eagles, how they would just tackle, and their point was to tackle through the guy, not tackle him, but tackle through him.
Right.
They were just taught like that. There wasn't that like, when you're basically zeroing in on someone and there's that moment that you freeze. They're all in, you know what I mean? And this guy would take running backs like big thighed guys off their feet.
Well, you know who started that? Jack Tatum, Ohio State alum. Jack Tatum would hit through somebody.
Yeah.
And he talked about that in his book. He didn't aim for the guy who was tackling. He aimed for the guy behind him.
Wow.
And that was back when you can go take somebody's head off.
He was a decapitator.
He was a decapitator.
Yeah, and that book was called The Assassin, wasn't it?
Yeah, they call me The Assassin.
There's that highlight where I think it's Sammy White from the Vikings.
Sammy White, and they blew his chin strap off, and fucking
whole helmet
earpieces come flying out. He paralyzed Darryl Stingley. He paralyzed the guy. But one of the probably the most underrated hits you can talk about that he had was him and Earl Campbell. They go head up on the goal line, and he knocks Earl out cold. Earl ends up scoring, knocked out. Just falls for it. I mean, Jack was the man, dude.
We're going old school here. I love it.
Well, I mean, you guys talk about the Raiders coming to town. That's a great book to read and kind of get your Raiders culture in and talk about what, when Madden had those guys, and they're fucking renegades, man.
Yeah, AJ, we were talking about the fact that, so Eric's born in Vegas. Goes and I are from Southern California, and we have other teams that we root for. But this Raider thing is going to be huge in Vegas, and we're fighting with ourselves to see if we should either adopt the second team, adopt the Raiders, and how that will look, turning on our old teams, or more than anything, I think it would basically be to adopt the Raiders as our second team.
I can't turn my back, but it would be adopting a second team.
Just having a second team.
And I just don't know if I can be the guy at the parade going, we did it. I don't know if I can do that if it's my second team.
Yeah, well, I mean, so what I want to ask is,
I don't know, man.
AJ, you were probably born, either a Browns or Bengals fan, but you obviously had to become a Packers fan, but you had to find a way to root for a couple teams throughout your career for one reason or another.
Yeah, like I was born about 40 minutes north of Cincinnati, so I was a Bengals fan my whole life. and then played 9 years for Green Bay. And I always would joke about with my wife, like it'd be fun to go find a way to play a year or two for the Bengals because it was kind of my high school team. And I live in Columbus, about 2 hours away, so I was able to go there, and I spent one season in Cincinnati and had a great time. I almost commuted from Columbus. My parents were 30 minutes away, and my family. So yeah, it's pretty easy. When you get drafted by a team, it's pretty easy to you can always have that team you grew up rooting for. But then once you become a part of a team like I was, the Packers, it was easy. But I definitely always kept a close eye on what the Bengals were doing. I always thought, hey, when my time is done in Green Bay, it'd be fun to go back home and see what it was like. And I was lucky enough to get that chance.
Because we need to get drafted like as ball boys or something like that, and then we'll have that little pass, like, well, they drafted us.
That is true.
They brought us aboard for one reason or another. All right, I think you had a few more for AJ. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, AJ, so your love for mixed martial arts, was it something that came right away, or was it something that had to be developed a little bit?
Honestly, I think it pretty much came right away. I grew up the youngest of three boys. I have two older brothers, and we grew up. We got headgear early on and boxing gloves and used to have boxing matches in our basement and stuff. I was aware of what MMA was. It wasn't huge on the mainstream at that point. But then I'd say, I don't know, I'm trying to think like if there wasn't like one specific fight or one card that I watched that all of a sudden made me a fan. We had probably my second year in Green Bay, maybe 2007. We had Randy Couture come and speak to the team before a game, a night before a game, I remember, and he watched the game from the sidelines, and I was just so juiced to have Randy there watching a game. I remember trying to, like, get his attention on the sideline a few times and shake his hand just to try to tell him I'm a fan and everything, and I never did. I think I was too scared to even say anything, but I loved, I don't know, I've just always had such a healthy respect for the sport and to see how it's grown and getting to meet different fighters and hang out with different people. And over the years, I've got to know Dan Henderson a little bit. And I mean, you got to be kidding me. That guy's not the biggest savage alive. I just don't even know. So I've always had so much respect for it. I just love it. I don't know. I'm a fan. I watch football and I watch fighting. Honestly, I don't really watch anything else.
What about female MMA? Is it there for you just yet, or have you developed into a big mixed martial arts fan for the females as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I love what Cyborg's done for a long time. She's scary. She's such a scary fighter. I think it's so good how she's evolved over time. But yeah, I was obviously Joanna. I'm not off the Joanna bandwagon. I'm still with her, even though she got beat by Rose. I mean, huge respect to Rose for what she did leading up to that fight, and then how she executed during it. Whew, just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm all in with women fighting. It seems like a lot of times they have some very, very exciting fights. So I'm not like I don't know enough like technical things to be like an MMA purist. I don't ever want to claim to be that guy. So I still love when they stand and bang, and a lot of times girls will do that. So it's always fun when they fight.
Just a couple more questions, AJ. We really appreciate the time. I wanted to ask you, do you believe MMA fighters could be a little thicker skinned when it comes to social media and fans? I mean, like in football, you guys are coming off the field and you guys are getting called bums and, just losers.
During the game.
Yeah, you guys get it pretty good. A lot of athletes do. But I think what helps you guys get over it is these fat paychecks a lot of you guys get, and whereas MMA fighters are still kind of clawing, and so they've grown up in a sport where they can be so close to the fans, and then the fans can turn on them. But I still feel like maybe they could just learn to take criticism a little bit better. But what are your thoughts when it comes to that side of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough because it's one-on-one. It's just you. You have your team around you, but once they close that door, it's just you. Yeah. You have your team that you train with and work out, managers, coaches, and all that, but it's you. So it's got to feel very, very personal. Like if someone wants to come at me or come at anyone I played with, especially when you're walking off the field or something, that's just funny when they're yelling how bad you suck and saying weird things about your family. Like it's just easy to laugh that one off, I feel like. But when they're attacking a fighter, I mean, you're putting basically your life on the line, just you inside that cage. And so if people want to be critical, I can definitely understand. I don't know how I would handle it. I guess I would probably try to ignore it. That's what I did with everything when I played. Just kind of ignore anything going on around me. I never would look anything up on myself just because I didn't want to. I didn't feel the reason. But as a fighter, yeah, I can see if you train your whole life and mixed martial arts and you're fighting, you get beat one time and all of a sudden you have 5 so-called journalists or writers, then they have a write-up on what you did wrong, and if they try to say something to get personal, yeah, I would take it pretty bad, I think, as well. So I don't know. As far as fans go, you know how that works, where as long as you're winning, I'm sure everyone loves you, but then you take one loss, and especially if you're an outspoken fighter that sells yourself and sells your fights,
Right.
everyone wants to see you get beat. So you get beat, and it's all of a sudden they're justified. And yeah, it's a weird world now because of how you need to self-promote, and no matter what you do, Conor seems to kind of change the game, and everyone has to step outside their comfort zone to try to just get noticed even, I guess, a little bit more than what the normal push would be from the organization. So I don't know. What do you think? Fighters are you think they take it? They're too sensitive, or what?
A little bit sometimes, and then because sometimes you can like a team will just have a bad game, and I think the players will acknowledge it. The coaches will say we stunk. We're going to go back and look at the film. The athletes the athletes will say, it was a bad game. We have to regroup. But I guess because next week they can make it better. I'm using football for an example, or even basketball or baseball. You could possibly do it the next day. And in fighting, you have like 3 months or 6 months to let it simmer. But the fact remains, you may have actually had a bad fight. It's just they don't take it right when we come in on a Monday and go, hey, he fought bad. That wasn't either a good game plan or he just didn't seem to give it his best. And I've noticed that criticism doesn't go over as well to those athletes compared to the NFL, where I think they just get over it a lot easier.
Yeah, you got that 8-week camp, a lot of time invested into it, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So like you said, you hit it on the head. But you got a game next week, hopefully.
Right.
And you're able to rebound.
Yeah. All right, AJ. The last thing was as far as something that's come up in the last few weeks. Let me see. It had to do with Reebok upped how much the newer fighters get. And I think I'm not sure how it happened. Here's the point I want to get to. We believe that the fighters could have. I think it was Ariel Helwani who said, "Boy, it's too bad the athletes didn't have a say in this." You know what I mean? And it comes back to association and union talk. And the fighters, if they only knew that collectively, they'd have so much more of a leg to stand on. Whereas individually, it's like they can beef a little bit with the organization, but they'll shelve them, or they'll just give them a terrible matchup or whatever. AJ, what advice would you give to the MMA athletes in terms of unionizing or having an association, and what it did for you as a professional athlete?
Oh, I mean, having the NFLPA, the union that the players have, it's huge. I don't know how the NFL would be if they didn't have a strong union. We got locked out after my Super Bowl season, where we didn't miss any games, but we were locked out from the owners for 4 months maybe, and they opened the doors back up right before training camp. But as far as fighters go, of course, a union would be huge. It would really help them out to have a collective bargaining agreement where they could come together and you had someone to back you when you're fighting a suspension, or you're fighting for more pay from Reebok. You want a bigger piece of the pie, like the NFL seems to do, like the Players Association does with the owners. But I just don't know how you can go about that, because there's so many fighters, there's so many, and they're all in different stages of their career. If you're a young guy just breaking in and you're not going to sit out a fight. I mean, honestly, the only thing that they can really, if they want to realize what kind of power they have, it would be absurd to think that they could do it. But if let's say Conor gets booked on a fight, he's headlining. If they shut down a fight, if Conor just goes about his business all of a sudden, and then like day of, he says, no, we're not fighting unless we get these terms, and we're going to come together, then this card does not happen tonight. If it was like for a fight like that, and you shut down a whole card, and I just don't know how you can get all the fighters to come together, because you're talking about asking people to sit out fights and not get paid, possibly for the greater good of the future of the sport and fighters. So it's just really tough to get everyone on the same page.
And some guy from Uzbekistan might not give a fuck about
right. He's trying to get paid
compared to the Americans. Right. You know what I mean? It's a worldwide thing. Right? Yeah, it's a worldwide thing.
Yeah,
and
I didn't even realize.
Yeah. All right, Eric, you had one last one for AJ?
Yeah, AJ, I was talking to – so Jerome Sapp trains with us over at Couture's, and really good guy, played for the Colts and Ravens, and Notre Dame alum. We were kind of chatting about the guys that are skipping bowl games and not playing their final game to forego into the NFL, and you're a top 5 pick. So, I mean, how do you relate to that? How do you feel? I mean, does it depend on the bowl you're playing in, where your draft status might be? Are you playing in that game? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it depends on a lot of different things that you just mentioned. Luckily, when I was coming out, I was very naive to the process. I didn't even really give it much thought on what the NFL, like what my career is going to be. I really enjoyed my time at Ohio State, so I really wanted to play in our bowl games. But yeah, I think now no one was really skipping bowl games back then too. But now I understand completely when guys say. I mean, look at Christian McCaffrey. Look at it's worked out well for him. He sat out his bowl game. It's true. If you're not one of the 4 playoff teams, honestly, what's it going to do for you to go in there and play your bowl game? Obviously, you want to stand up for your teammates. You want to be accountable. You want them, but at the same time, your coaches, your teammates, they understand if you're supposed to be a first-round pick and you guys are playing in some bowl game on December 19th, people are going to understand that you're not going to risk possibly your future to the NFL, your NFL career, to play in this game. So I understand both sides of it. I don't blame guys when they do sit out. And what would be fun, what would be crazy to see is if there's a big-time player one year, his team is one of the 4 playoff teams, and he decides to sit out the college football playoffs. That would be a guy that I think I may have an issue with, and I think teammates would as well, but I just can't see it happen. It all depends on what kind of bowl game you're at and how high of a pick you're supposed to be, I think.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about, was it Jalen Smith for Notre Dame when he got hurt against Ohio State? He blew his knee out in the bowl game not too long ago?
Yeah, and he finally came back this year.
Finally came back this year.
Nerve damage. Yeah, nerve damage in his knee, like drop foot for a while, wearing a brace, and who knows how that affected his long term. It definitely affected. He was going to be a first-round pick. I think the Cowboys took him the second.
Right.
But it's you could get those catastrophic injuries that last a long time. Luckily, he looks like he's rebounded. He's going to be great.
Well, hey, anytime you're in Vegas, AJ, we'd love to have you come by the gym. We run that MVP program at the gym. It's one of Jake Glazer's programs, merging vets and players, and we adopted it over at Couture's. So we have a lot of NFL guys that come in or just athletes, and we work out with the veterans. So anytime you're in town, man, we'd love to have you come by and check it out.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. I'll let you guys know next time I'm coming out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, AJ. Thanks for the time. It was a half hour. Sorry, we probably went a lot longer than we should have. Well, if we ever book you again, it won't be this long, but it was our first time. We got excited, man. You've done a lot in football. We've watched you do it, and congratulations on a great career there, and really happy to have you on the SiriusXM Rush 93 team.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, AJ. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. We'll come back. We'll take some calls. We'll finish out the week. It's Eric Nicksick in the house. You still good?
Gravy.
All right, cool.
You guys think about something during the break?
Yeah, sure.
Think about this. You're in a bar. You get 5 NFL players next to you.
To fight?
Who are those 5?
I'll think about that, and I'll give you my 5 when we come back. All right, we'll be right back, folks.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Go.
SiriusXM is giving our subscribers a chance to win an opportunity to go to Minneapolis, Minnesota for Super Bowl 52. One grand prize winner will receive a trip for two, including airfare, 3 nights hotel stay, and 2 tickets to Super Bowl 52 on February 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're a football fan, this is the ultimate prize. No additional purchase is necessary. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/Super Bowl before January 24th, 2018. The NFL entities, as defined in the official rules, have not offered or sponsored this sweepstakes in any way. Eric Nicksick from Extreme Couture here in studio with us. And Goes presented a great question. If we were to be in a bar fight, what current or former football players would we want at our side? Let's do one round, then we'll take these calls, and then we'll finish out the last 4, right?
Okay.
Because my mouth's watering just thinking about the fight
right?
itself. Yeah, let's see who goes first. Let's let the guest go first.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Eric.
Number 1 pick,
Yeah.
Herschel Walker.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Herschel Walker. Been there, done that, too.
You writing them down, George?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Do you want me to go next, or you want to go?
Yeah, you go next.
Give me Ndamukong Suh. I think that's
Ooh.
Yeah.
Big boys.
Damn it.
Okay.
I got that
All right.
reaction from both of them.
Yes.
I'm going to take, give me Ronnie Lott.
Ooh.
Bastard. All right. Cool. All right, let's talk to Showtime in Tennessee. Let's see if it's finally his time. What's up, Showtime?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Not
what's
much,
going on,
man.
Eric? Hey, man, I had the mute button on, man. I was fucking talking my ass off. I was like, damn.
No worries. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. Hey, man, you guys got me fucking hyped. I think this is what I'm going to have to do, man, to make sure that I come to these events. I think I'm just going to go on and buy 2 tickets for Austin card because of the price of them, man. And if I already got the tickets, I'm not going to miss it. I'll just catch a fucking flight if I need to. Like the shit that happened last week with me not coming to Vegas. If I already would have paid for the tickets, then I wouldn't have drove the truck. I just would have caught a plane and came out there. And for, what'd you say, 135, George? How much you say?
Go said 112, I think. 112 each way to Texas, to Austin.
Yeah, get to Austin, bro. That's a fun,
Are you coaching
town.
on that card?
I don't know yet, but if I can, I'm on it because I love Austin.
It's
one of
only
my favorite
112
cities.
each way, and the cage side is 135.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's
we're
a
thinking
fun,
about
fun
it.
town, man.
Yeah.
So that's basically a weekend, maybe $150, $200 a night. So basically, I can have a weekend, a $900 weekend, $1,000 weekend for that. That's, you know, when I come to Vegas, it's hell of a lot more than that. That's not a man putting the drinking in and all that. There's gonna be a lot of junkies out there too, and Austin is a nice city. So I can't wait. Hey, we talking about athletes. I'm gonna throw somebody else in other than football player if I had to get in a fight. You guys know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a hellified martial artist, you know, as well, man.
Yeah, but I think I could get the takedown on his ass.
Yeah, you got to shoot that low single.
Yeah.
You got to get down
like
there.
Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
I'm going to do an ankle pick, you know.
Yeah. I'm not trying to fuck with Charles Oakley, though.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Fucking Oakley's
Anthony
gonna,
Mason.
those boys.
Fuck that.
Fucking Lambeer. Nah, I'm good. Barkley, yeah.
Oh, Mahorn. How about Mahorn?
Damn, you went for the good one.
Yeah.
Give me Jeff Hornacek. I think I could take him.
What else you got?
Yeah, man, you guys tripping, man. Man, I'm trying to. Who you guys got for the games this weekend, man?
Let me pull it up.
Are you betting? You betting, George? You land?
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? Check it out.
cash
Check it
out?
out. If you do money line on all 4 dogs, all you need to do is hit 1, and on 2 of them you'll already be up $50. On 2 of them you'll only be down $50. But if 2 hit, you're really doing well.
If you straight bet them.
Straight bet, money line bet them.
Yeah, round robin them.
And I think usually you do those with the under. So at the end of the season, a few of the teams they were balling. The teams are being a little bit more conservative. The defenses are playing well. They've seen each other a few times. So that's probably what I'll do. Rather than pick an individual team, I'll just bank on something like that. I may get laughed out on Monday, or it may work out. I don't know. But as far as the team itself, I like Atlanta to take out the Rams. Like that's the one I'd feel the best about in terms of
Been there, done that. Been in the playoffs. Know how
Yeah,
to handle
I
it.
like the speed on their defense.
Yeah.
I like their quarterback. I think they have certain skill players that I think will rise to the occasion. I mean, your motivation just is at a new level. When you've been there, you've been that close. I think you can rally.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's nothing against the Rams, but especially the Rams at home.
Right.
Do
they have a big home field advantage?
That's the thing.
I mean, not really.
That's the thing.
The fucking Eagles blew them out, in that stadium. There's more Philly fans on the West Coast.
Right. So, we'll see, man.
I'm a Philly fan.
I might be wrong, man. We'll see. All right, my man. We got to move on. Thanks for the call. What do you want? You tell him. He goes right next to him. You tell him. Oh, he's gone. All right, he's gone. Another round?
Another round.
All right.
Oh, where we at? Goes your
Goes.
stars.
Oh, so now it's back on me, right? I am going to go. Give me Ray Lewis.
Ooh. Oh, here.
Oh, sorry. Ray Lewis. All right. I'll just leave that there just in case you pick someone with an L. I'm going to go with I don't want you guys to steal this guy. Nah, you won't. Oh, fuck it. Alan Hainsworth.
Okay.
All right, this is the guy.
Big boy.
Yeah, he had a temper.
Yeah, he was cleat stomping.
Oh, fuck
dudes.
yeah. If you'll notice, my theme's going to be dirty players.
Right, you're going big
but
guys,
I can tell those are the
too.
guys that get down, you know what I mean?
Fuck, I got to get some. You need some cardio in there, though.
That fight better take
It's
place
coming.
early in the night because those guys will not stay in the club that long without getting kicked out.
Right.
All right, it's on you, Eric.
Dick Budkiss.
Nah, fuck it. I knew it. I rolled the dice like an idiot.
Oh,
That's a good one.
All right. Yeah, man. You see those highlights. Young kids, if you're listening, you're like, who's that guy? Just watch the highlights of how this guy would terrorize teams.
And am I coming right back?
You are. Yeah, we can do that.
All right. Lawrence Taylor.
LT.
Yeah, that's solid. All cooked up and shit.
Dude, give him some booger sugar and fucking send him out.
Yeah, I like it. All right, LT. That's all you got to write. You don't even have to write the whole name.
No.
I'm going to go with another guy from old school. In fact, I'm going to take him just because now I'm scared. He went old school. Ray Nitschke.
Ooh,
he was a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. Same thing, man. He had that feel of what a Butkus could do.
No front teeth.
I mean, no front teeth. I mean, just hardly any protection.
Yeah.
Scabby forearms and everything, but he would just terrorize teams as well. So I need an old school guy because I figure he's going to be a little bit of the voice of reason, but he can also go from zero and red line really quick. Goes.
We're going to be running out of that club pretty fast, so I need a white guy driving. So give me Bill Romanowski.
Oh, Romo.
I remember that guy, man. He actually had a few titles with us with the Niners, and then he became Mr. Healthy.
Right.
What could we call him? He was actually like a cyborg type guy.
Correct.
The way he fueled his body and recovered. Actually, he was cutting edge for a lot of people in terms of
he was one of the
icing himself.
The Balco era guys.
Yeah.
He was one of the start of the Balco era guys.
Romanos.
And just hawking a loogie right in T.O.'s face.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll do or not a break from this. Not our. We have one more break, right, Danny?
We do. We have one more break.
All right, let's do Brian from Boston, and then we'll do the break. Brian from Boston, what's up, man?
Hey, boys. I'm just going to throw three guys at you that I would take to a bar fight. And,
is that going to ruin ours? Give us another
sport.
sport.
Won't ruin yours at all.
How do you know that?
Let him play. Let him play. All right, Brian, you want to play? Go ahead. What do you got?
Fire.
For reasons that will be obvious, O.J. Simpson, Ray Caruth, and Aaron Hernandez.
Nice. Yeah.
You forgot Ray Rice.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Simpson, Caruth. Yeah, isn't Caruth out or supposed to get out?
Caruth is out.
Is he?
Yeah, I heard he's getting out.
Wow. Yeah. All right, Caruth, Simpson, and who's the other? Bandit?
Aaron Hernandez.
Hernandez, yeah. All right.
Oh, boy.
All right, so here's what I got going on.
Sure.
Right? I got 15 inches of snow yesterday.
Oh, shit.
Wind chills below zero, so I'm already in a bad mood. And then I, start scrolling through my MMA feeds, and I see that we're looking at a Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg. Bullshit super fight. When the champ cleans out his or her division, that's when you call for a super fight. I mean, Amanda Nunes fought once in 2017. Cyborg just beat, a 135er. The only one that I could see that was eligible for a super fight would be DJ. But then you got TJ calling him out. He's only had one fight. And Woodley, all he does is talk about super fights. So I think Amanda should stay at 135 and Cyborg should stay at 145. Fight the next contender and start to build these rivalries naturally versus throwing out these bullshit super fights all the time.
Let me say
I feel like
this.
they're just going for the money fights, man.
Let me say this, brother. Megan Anderson is the clear #1 for Cyborg, but for whatever reason, she pulled out of the fight in 2017, and it doesn't seem like there's just any interest from her. I don't know if it's still under personal issues, visa issues, or what's going on, but she's just not proclaiming herself as an eligible fighter right now. So who's next? I don't know, but Pennington is the #1 contender for Nunes, and she broke her leg, and it sounds like she's not ready to go. And then after that, who really is there? There's been some retirements. There's a pregnancy out there. One girl's 0-2 against her. So really, like, who else are we really giving her that we get that excited about? So normally I'm with you, Brian, and this time I'm going to have to leave you hanging on the cliff by yourself. I'm going to say I'm actually in favor of it. A, because Brazilians rarely like to fight each other, and the fact that you kind of got them going at it, I think this might be the right time to do it while more 45ers get groomed and while some 35ers get healthy. And even like if Kat's got a fight coming up, if she were to win that, with the fact that she's beaten Nunes, she'd actually have a claim, and then Pennington already has a claim. So I think this might actually work out, believe it or not. Now the other ones I sort of agree. I think Woodley's got some guys in front of him. Colby Covington, the winner of, well, probably Usman if he beats Meek. I don't know if Meek's there yet.
Darren Till.
Darren Till's going to be barking soon. RDA has been promised from Dana White. So, see, he seems to have some fights that he could play out. DJ has cleared things out. TJ, I mean, I guess Rivera, it would have been nice for Rivera to come off of a win. I think he would probably make Cruz take a fight. He's gonna play that power position a little bit from where he's at. Listen, man, this is something we can discuss a little bit more next week. We got to get one more commercial. We got to finish our draft, but it's always great to hear from you, Brian. Have a nice weekend. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll talk to Dan from Oregon. We'll give our last two fighters for our Street Fighter scenario that goes created. What 5 football players, current or former, would you want in a street fight with you? So far, Eric Nicksick has Herschel Walker, Dick Butkus, and Lawrence Taylor. I have Indomitius Sue, Alan Hainsworth, and Ray Nitschke. Goes has Ronnie Lott,
Ray Lewis,
yeah, and Bill Romanowski. I wasn't sure about the Lewis. All right, folks. We'll be right back after this break.
Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
The fantasy football season continues with Wild Card Weekend on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Whether you're competing in fantasy football tournaments or daily contests, listen to the best analysts break down the weekend's NFL matchups from the fantasy football perspective so you can win. SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius 210, XM87, and on the SiriusXM app. That same app houses the MMA Junkie Radio Show, commercial-free, and in HD quality. Also happening at the Extreme Couture Gym this weekend is Coach Dwayne Bang Ludwig is in town to do a seminar. Is it a seminar or pro practice?
He's going to do both. So he's going to run pro
nice.
practice for us from 11:30 to 12:30, and then he's doing a seminar from 1 to 3:30, and then promoting the guys that are up for promotions through his Bang Muay Thai system.
How to end a fight in 7 seconds? Will that be covered?
I hope, man. I hope.
All right.
That's the KO.
Yeah.
Pull that hand and go.
It goes down tomorrow, and Extreme Couture is also in conjunction having a free open house from 9 to 3 p.m. So come get a workout and check out the pros practice as well. And Goes and I have been there many times. It's a beautiful facility that's got everything you would ever want. Not just if you want to be a fighter, but if you just want to go in there and get a workout. The cardio kickboxing looks pretty amazing.
Yeah.
For all the ladies that want to, get back to that pre-baby shape that they used to have. Kids that wanted to defend themselves. They have classes for kids, and they have a bunch of weights and a bunch of cardio machines if you just want to get, the standard workout that a lot of people get when they go to other gyms. It's a really, really cool vibe. Check it out. Again, 9 to 3, free open house, a seminar from Dwayne Bang Ludwig, as well as a pro practice that you'll get to check out, and there'll be a lot of the Extreme Couture fighters there in town. So we are going to do an overtime. Don't fret. We're not tripping. Dan in Oregon will get to you in just a second. Let's do one more round here. That way I can kind of do the soft exit out of the SiriusXM hour, and Dan from Oregon will take you in about 90 seconds. Let's see. We started with Eric, and we snaked back that way, so it's back on Goes.
Give me Mike Singletary.
Whoa.
Okay. Singletary. I am going to take... Who do I got again? Because you guys... Oh, here's a good one. Eric's going to like this one. Andre Waters from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
They called him Dirty Waters.
Dirty Waters.
So I know this guy's just going to come flying across the bar and steal on someone's jaw. And I had a lot of big guys. I needed a little bit of cardio guys, like you said. So Andre Waters for me.
One.
He doesn't have much of a reach, though, I remember, right? Doesn't he have alligator arms?
No, you're thinking of Ricky Waters.
Oh, Ricky Waters. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. For who? For what? That's what he said when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he didn't stretch out for a pass, and they asked him about it. He goes, for who? For what? And that came back to bite him because a lot of his teammates didn't respect him after that. No, this was a hard-hitting safety. Goes. He, along with Wes Hopkins, were quite a tandem for the Eagles. All right, Eric.
2, right?
Yeah, if you got
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, okay. They'll just run over fools.
Yeah, and Chuck Bednarik.
Oh, nice one. All right, another Eagle. All right, Goes and I will finish ours in about 30 seconds. It's just a soft exit here. More combat sports and entertainment for you tonight and throughout the weekend. The Luke Thomas Show at the fights. MMA tonight. There's replays. You'll love it. Stay on the channel. And for the week, James Krause, Matthias Nicolau, TJ Dillashaw, Emil Meek, Ally Quinta, Michael Chandler. We had a great week. We'll see you Monday.
I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last dime. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that I had a swing in time. I'm gonna give it everything I've got.
Guys, prepare for overtime.
All right, and just to finish out, AJ Hawk, Eric Nicksick, Misha Tate will be on next week, but it was a really, really fun week. We enjoyed doing it. Let's do our final picks, Goes, and then we'll talk to Dan from Morgan. So I guess it's on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have one more. I'm going to go with James Harrison from
It's a good one.
From the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's really, really intense.
He's
and
an animal.
I like these guys that are programmed. You know what I mean?
That's a good one. I
So,
like that
James
one a lot.
Harrison. Goes?
My last pick is going to be John Randall.
Ooh,
John Randall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that.
There's some good picks.
Honorable mention?
I ran out, but I could come up with one.
Oh, all right. My one guy I was trying to slip in was Steve Atwater.
Atwater.
Yeah, another hard hitter. I thought for sure you were going to say Sean Taylor.
I was going to send him. I thought about that.
Any chance he has to talk about Sean Taylor, he does.
I thought about that, but I was going to send him straight at Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Just meet him right there.
I don't know. I don't know who would win that fight. I don't know that we accounted for Eric. That's like 6 fighters. You throw Eric in there, right?
Yeah, really.
So we got I got to tell Ndamukong Suh, hey, kick Eric Nicksick in the knees. Right. Get rid of him quick. And then let's go 5-on-5. And you guys just start to do your thing, and then I'll come in there and with a bottle or something. Yeah, I was going to say finish him off with that. That'd be a soundbite.
You gotta hope you don't run into Lou and Thornton Mellon, right? They take care of football teams like
they
nothing.
do. That's right. All right, Dan in Oregon, let's get to you. What's up, Dan?
What up, man? I kind of want to build on what you guys were just talking about as far as the ladies' fight with Cyborg and Nunes.
Right.
I think that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer, man. Like, if they can't do it as soon as Perth, then why not UFC 222 right there in Vegas? But UFC needs to be smart. We got to build up another contender at the exact same time. So we might as well call it a 4-woman tournament. And I'm thinking Megan Anderson, a rematch with Cindy Benoit. She just became the 155-pound champ by beating King Ringa over there in Ryzen. And
Cindy Danois?
Yeah, Danois.
Okay.
Throw her in there, man. There's no other featherweight with 10 wins. Bellator's got all the other good ones signed. There's a couple of Invicta, but she's a free agent just sitting there. I think pick her up, make that one. So as far as the women's fight, and for every reason that you explained, George, Raquel Pennington was the only one on deck, and she's injured. Everyone else needs to get a win. So it's almost in the state that the freaking strawweight division was in with Joanna just a minute ago. But I got to talk about football, if you guys would let me, man.
Yeah, let me just say one thing about Danois. She was a member of the UFC, but she got cut. She fought at 35 and got cut. So I don't know that they'll run to her to sign her.
She needs to work on the striking
again. Yeah. But anyway, go on. What's your football talk?
Well, okay, we want Megan Anderson to eventually fight Cyborg, right? Then maybe let's bring her in. Let's have a warm-up fight or tune-up fight, whatever you want to call it, man. Like, let's be smart about this, and let's at least get Megan Anderson in the UFC before she just fights Cyborg.
Where's Jermaine at in this whole mix?
She moved back down to 35.
Yeah?
She didn't want to defend 45, so she left that alone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's basically Cyborg is a sideshow.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like whoever wants to fight her, go ahead and do it.
Right,
more
that
power to you.
That division's thin. They haven't built anything at 45.
Right, yeah.
You know, so that's going to take a little while.
It is.
So I don't know. And we actually were talking about that at the fights. Me and Kevin Lee were like, well, what's next for her?
See, Holly's of good size. She was able to go in there and compete, but there were even times where it seemed like she was hitting her, and Cyborg was walking through some of those punches.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that's literally about a 2 to 5 year project to get maybe 5 quality 45ers to throw her there, and she'll still be there. She's already in her 30s. You know, who knows?
I agree.
So I think when you have a chance to super fight them. Again, I'm not for those initially, but I think I laid out perfectly why 35. There's not really anyone like that we need to see Nunes fight. You know, had Shevchenko won, you could play the trilogy card, but she didn't. She's 0-2. Pena's pregnant. Rousey retired. Tate retired. Ngannou fights once every 18 months. She is fighting soon. If she gets the win, she's got a little bit of a card to play.
Good card though.
Pennington was perfect, but she got injured. I mean, the fight was going to happen here in Vegas, I heard, and she got injured. So. There's just kind of no one out there right now that pops. And if 2 Brazilians want to fight, great. Now, that said, Dana White says that's the fight to make, and then Cyborg shoots it down later on. So who knows? All right, what's your football question?
I got to build on that, man. With Bellator, we've been talking about Ryan Bader.
Yeah, all right.
Ryan Bader for King Mo should be for the championship. Even though it's in one of the beginning rounds of the tournament, it should be for the lightweight championship. So let's make it a 4-woman tournament just to trick all the fans. Like, okay, now we got to pay attention to these other 2 just because they're the semifinal for what's coming next. You could still make it Nunes versus Cyborg as a super fight, and it's for the belt. It's just, it makes so much sense, but the UFC won't do it because it makes way too much sense. I want an 8-team football playoff, man. And
so do I.
I want to talk UFC, but Georgia might be the best team in the league this year. They lost one time to Auburn at Auburn. They went to a neutral site. They crushed them. Now they're going to play at home against Alabama. Like, this is the first time there's ever been a home game, which is a fluke, but that's pretty amazing storyline there. But at the same time, how do you not look at this season and want an 18 playoff? Ohio State's on the outside looking in. Like, what the heck, man?
Central Florida.
Wisconsin blew their chance to get in there. Central Florida. They have an argument as well. I'm 4-8. I could handle 8. I couldn't handle 16. That's 4 games. I don't know that these kids need to play 4 more games. You know, a few years ago they started adding these conference championships. Some of them mean something. Some of them wind up not meaning anything. But I could do 8. I really could. Thanks for the call, Dan. We really have to move on. These lists were fun. And Eric, thanks for just spontaneously chilling. I did want to cover one last thing. I don't know that we've officially seen each other since the passing of Robert Follis, much less spoken about it. And also I haven't been back to the gym, but I guess what's that like? And can you speak on, you know, I guess he was a big part of the team for a few years.
Right.
And I know that towards the end, you know, you guys had parted ways, but, you know, a lot of people still had many things to say about Robert Follis and what he added to their careers.
Just, you know, phenomenal presence. And he captivated the room. He took things over, and I think that he was a very gravitating personality. And I've known Coach. I met Coach in 2007 through Dennis Davis, through Randy, him still up in Oregon and coming out and training. So when we brought him over to Couture's, it was just one of those things where we knew that he could help build what we have today. And he did that. He helped along with Dennis, myself, Ray, and everything else. He just added to that recipe. You know, there was things that happened with Coach Follis and his family about, I think, 2014 that really hurt him, if you will. And he just, you know, he had a lot of struggles and he battled with things that we all saw, and at least myself personally. And it was hard. You know, it was hard. And then especially with his departure from Extreme Couture, it wasn't malicious by any means. It was just one of those things where I felt like he wanted to go and try it on his own and do some things on his own and grow on his own. You know, when you have a product and you're really good at what you do, you want to make money for what you do, and there's no fault there at all. You know, so when he did leave, it was upsetting in the regards of you're losing a mentor. You're losing a guy that has been there in the trenches with you for so long, and I learned so much from that man. Mm-hmm. You know, I learned a lot from him. So some of the character changes with him, I don't think really I identified some of those things, and I was worried about him. You know, I was worried about him. And I think I actually told you guys personally, like, man, I was worried about him. You know, so was I surprised? Yeah, I guess. You know.
Especially because I think a lot of his thing was positivity, you know.
Yeah.
And when he spoke about fights, sometimes you got away from the X's and O's, and you just got he spoke about like
life,
that moment, how negatives could become positive. So I was shocked as well.
Yeah. So you know, it was hard because you think, man, was I not there for him in the time of need, or was there other things going on in his life that we just didn't identify that we needed to help him out with? So with his brother's passing, I was there quite a bit, you know, and I got to see a lot of the pain that he went through, you know, and I just wish that, you know, we were able to kind of, you know, talk more, I guess, you know, so. Then that's life. You know, you're going to regret a lot of things in life, and all you can do is take those lessons and hopefully adhere those lessons to the future, and make sure that you're there for one another. Tell people you love them, you know. If there's something going on, sit down and talk with them, you know, and those are some of the lessons I've definitely taken out of this situation. But I'm not where I'm at today without Robert Follis. And I'm well aware of that, and he's taught me a lot. He's took me under his wing and taught me a lot about my craft, but not only that, me as a person and as a human being. So, you know, he's greatly missed. He's greatly missed for sure.
Yeah. Well, obviously our condolences. We've shared that, you know, via messages or whatever.
Yeah.
I know there'll be a void to fill for many people.
Yeah.
We've spoken to Kevin. I've
Yeah.
heard Misha on a show as well that she was on. I think it was Luke's show and also her own show. And I saw the outpouring messages that came through, and he really meant a lot to a lot of people. And even though towards the end, you know, he had gone his own way, I just know that you guys still had a bond.
Yeah, and the team is really the best thing that we did was the weekend after his passing, or we found out that he passed, was that Monday. You know, and it was kind of one of those things where you walk in and you don't really know what to expect, but right away it was the therapy that we all needed. It was to be on the mats together, and we trained and we cried, and we all had our moments and stuff. But the message that I tried to deliver to the team, myself and Dennis, was, you know, do the things that he always took pride in to remember him by. You know, getting your ass here on time, doing all the little things that made us what we are good at, and setting that standard. And that's the way to kind of uphold his memory in the room, especially. So that was the message we tried to get across, and it was good. That was probably the best therapy we could have, was be on the mats and being together. And then now you kind of, you know, you seen the pictures, and the guys back in there training, and the energy in the room is back at an all-time high. You know,
Yeah.
but we do that with a little bit of a heavier heart, but with him in mind. You know.
Well, I plan on stopping by tomorrow.
Can't wait.
The open house, 9
Yes,
to
sir.
3 a.m.
Yep.
Again, this is Saturday, January. What's today?
Today's the 5th.
So it's January 6th. Yeah, just for some of those people that listen on the podcast, if you wake up tomorrow and you're like, wait a minute, it means that day, not the following day, Sunday. So January 6th, Saturday, 9 to 3 p.m. at the Extreme Couture Gym. And Dwayne Bang Ludwig will also be teaching a seminar, and he will be doing a pro practice. So it should be a great time. Thanks again, Eric, for the co-hosting, for opening your doors, and you know, all that good stuff.
Love you guys, man.
And love you too, buddy. And good luck with Uriah Hall. I know that fight's coming up.
Yes,
Dan
sir.
Ige.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you, but still,
Thank you,
hopefully
guys.
2018 starts off with a bang.
Yes, sir.
How's that sound?
Yes,
all right,
sir.
folks, we are out of here. Go out there, be champions. Go, Man U. They're playing right now. See you guys.
Bright light city, gonna set my soul, gonna set my soul.